Here's the thing. The title, the thumbnail, it was kind of clickbait, but it also runs through with the theme of this entire video. I know themes and all that stuff, it's kind of ethereal. You have to deal with the world the way that it is instead of the way that you want it to be. You can't live and you can't deal with shoulds, coulds, woulds. You have to deal with what is. Because, yeah, over the past couple of days, when it comes to the Nashville shooter stuff, I don't think anybody's been more on point than Crowder. Like, he had an excellent show yesterday, and I would highly recommend that everybody goes and checks out in the 2 hours. You can play it on, time and a half, 2 times speed. I thought it was great. Really good coverage and, really encapsulated a whole bunch of things as well. But then today I was listening along, and he said that there were some updates and stuff. And yeah, there was some updates. And here's the thing. He addresses something that, I've been talking about, and I branded the first video because it just looks right on the face of it. It was a terrorist attack, 1000%, and I agree with him on this. But then when he starts to deviate, it's funny because listening to I think all of the show today, he was bang on with his analysis, but then he wavers when it comes to this one specific issue. This was a hate crime, 100% a hate crime. It's a terrorist attack and a hate crime. So yes, what happened in Nashville was terrorism. Terrorism, as described by the FBI, yes, domestic terrorism. Violent criminal acts committed by individuals and or groups to further ideological goals stemming from domestic influences such as those of political, religious, social, racial, or environmental nature. Yeah, of course, religious seems to tick a box. This was directly at a Christian school. And there's also a manifesto of the shooter as well that is not being released to the public for whatever reason. Not like I'm champing at the bit to read it, but the police officers are. So they're going to make their determination. So as of right now, how's this being investigated? Is it being investigated as a terrorism act? It's tough to say at this point in time because the shooter, the way that the media is trying to portray it, the victim in this situation in a roundabout way, because there's some crazy stuff that's going to be happening here in the next couple of days. So strap in. We're by no means, I thought that we could sunset this topic yesterday, but we're by no means done with this, especially going up to and through Saturday. It's going to be a bumpy ride. But yeah, man, that chick is now room temperature somewhere getting cut up in order to figure out a whole bunch of stuff. So while this attack does fit the FBI's domestic terrorism designation, is it going to? The 5 of the 6 people that were shot and killed were also white as well. So could you also say that it was a terrorism attack based on racial demographics? Theoretically. But you know what else isn't labeled a domestic terrorism group? Black Lives Matter. And just look at everything that happened during 2020 to just go and show. Yeah, there's no uniformity when it comes to applying these things. This will be a one-off issue. The left is continuing to push super hard on there. We just need to ban guns because these sentient guns are just running around, and this wouldn't happen in a place like the UK. Oh no, of course not. It just would have been some mentally ill individual running around chefing everybody. Totally different situation. Totally less graphic, Who could possibly walk up to a 9-year-old and just slit their throat, right? Guns are the #1 killer of children. Well, if you just ban all the guns, guess what's going to happen? Bombs will become the #1 killer of children. So it's almost like there's a mental health problem there in certain specific demographics, but you wouldn't touch that with a 95-foot pole, now would you? So yes, to just run back the Steven Crowder argument, where I had a problem with it, definitely, because if you want to go ahead and apply the terrorism definition on top of it, you can go ahead and use hate crime. But we'll play the clip here in a second. But first I want to set the ground rules where, okay, here's what Senator Josh Hawley is talking about when he was discussing this yesterday. Yeah, yesterday as well. Josh Hawley calls for the feds to investigate Nashville school shooting as a hate crime. It is. Those laws are on the books just as much as the terrorism laws are on the books. I say do both of them. Absolutely do both of them, just to show that these laws, they run both ways, because it's soft right now. Pause. It's a cultural issue. That who's the number one target, okay? Who is the number one inept idiot? The bad guy, the klutz, the abuser, the borderline abuser in every single piece of media that's out there. The white guy, the white Christian guy, and then to a certain extrapolation, even the white lady as well. What? We have a definition for a Karen, but who's the people that turn over the Popeyes in broad daylight, hop on hoods and roofs of vehicles in Miami during spring break? Not really the Karens now, are they? There's an attack on white people. Not breaking any new ground. If your eyes can see and your ears can hear, you know exactly what's going on if you know what to look for. And just because, well, no prosecutor's office wants to apply these laws in defense of a white demographic, and as you can see in the previous video today, if there's enough call for it, well, just because you think that it's a leftist tactic doesn't mean that you can't use it successfully in order to institute change. But we'll get to that shortly. Let's see what Hawley has to say here first and foremost. Senator Josh Hawley has called for the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security to investigate the shooting as at a private school in Nashville, Tennessee on March 27th as a hate crime against Christians. Nashville Police Department identified 28-year-old don't care at this point in time dead tranny, including 3 9-year-old children who were confirmed to be killed at the Covenant School. Police Chief John Drake identified Hale as transgender. Him pronouns. The NPD said Hale was also a former student at the school, and was being treated by a physician for an emotional disorder. In his letter to the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, Hawley called the shooting a targeted attack. Yeah, it is. An individual identified by police killed 6 people. Students Evelyn Decaus, who was the brave little girl who went up and pulled the fire alarm and then was shot by this animal. Braver and more heroic than vast swaths of the population. Amazing. At 9 years old, has that level of bravery. Haley Scruggs and William Kinney. Normally you'd expect a Mick in there somewhere. And employees Cynthia Peake, Catherine Kuntz, and Michael Hill in a murderous rampage at the Christian school known as the Covenant School. Hawley wrote, surveillance footage shows Hale wearing camouflage pants, a red hat, and mysteriously changing sneakers. Yo, if I see that conspiracy theory one more time, if you guys want to talk about psyops that get run and everything is just a big distraction, that right there is the most obvious distraction I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like those dorks that think that, water doesn't bend, therefore the world is flat. That's their justification. Like, these people are just too stupid to breathe. Yo, man, where's a tranny with an assault rifle when you need one? The NPD later released body cam footage, showing that, Nashville Police Department is far more brave and competent than the Uvalde Police Department. Though Hawley said incidents like this are frequently labeled as senseless violence, he argued that Hale targeted Christians and pointed to federal law which criminalizes acts of violence against people with religious affiliations as hate crimes. Yes, exactly. According to Nashville law enforcement, Hale's attack was both premeditated and targeted against this Christian school, its students and employees. Nashville Police Chief John Drake announced yesterday that we have a manifesto, we have some writings, and we're going to go over that pertaining to this date, the actual incident. We have a map drawn out of how this was all going to take place. Sounds premeditated, sounds targeted, if you will. Hawley added that the police believe Hale had some resentment for having to go to that school. I urge you to immediately open an investigation into the shooting as a federal hate crime, Hawley said. Full resources of the federal government must be brought to bear to determine how this crime occurred and who may have influenced the deranged shooter to carry out these horrific crimes. Hate that leads to violence must be condemned, and hate crimes must be prosecuted. Okay, so that's Hawley's statement. How do we circle back to Crowder? Now here we have the Rumble stream, which big shout out to Rumble, man. Like, okay, I'm going to be having my stream on Saturday. It's going to be going over on Rumble, as long as I can get everything work. I don't see a reason why I won't be, so I'll be streaming over there as well. I'll probably be putting up a poll here either late today, early tomorrow as to what I want to talk about. Could be breaking down a fresh and fit episode that I think is very important and something I'll be making reference to here before the end of the video as well. Or also just some handful of street interviews where we can take a look at. Yo, man, when you have Rumble out here, because YouTube, I've had to talk about this more recently than I really like to. YouTube is really screwing around with my channel. 1000%. Like everything on the back end, everything that is measurable, everything that is actionable is up across the board. Views are up, engagement is up, comments are up, everything is fantastic. The only thing that's getting messy is monetization, which is fantastic because if it's not monetized, the percentage of viewership, okay, that all of these incredibly successful, relevant, trending topics I've been doing over the past few days, it only goes out to my subscribers. Like 80% of the viewership comes from subscribers, which is fantastic. I'm so glad that there's a great retention rate when it comes to people that are on the channel, that subscribe to the channel, and it's not just dead subs. That's fantastic. But to grow this base, the fact that they aren't, promoting my content because they refuse to monetize it within about 3 days time for a news channel such as this, I can't make it work. I can't make that stuff work. If YouTube's not going to put it out there for nefarious reasons, because listen, earlier today, there was stuff that I created and put out on Friday that just today got monetized. How can you make that work? How can you possibly make that work? Whereas over on Rumble, views continue to go up, the followers continue to go up. So yeah, and then I also see the fact that there is a thriving and booming streaming ecosystem that's over there because yeah, even just going back to what Crowder was doing yesterday on the Uvalde stream, 181,000 people tuning in. That's ridiculous numbers, and I think that episode specifically has over 2 million views, and even this one here from earlier today, yeah, it's at 1.1 million. Every single episode that he's done since he's come back from the 20th all have over 1 million views. That is fantastic, and that shows that Rumble is a viable location. Rumble has the sauce, and especially, I've had this up here and haven't really, broke this down. What this means is, if you watch live streams that are over on YouTube, you have the different membership stuff, okay, where you get certain benefits for being a part of somebody's, extended community or whatever. It's a way to support through YouTube directly, but now Rumble has those as well, apparently, and yeah, you can subscribe. I guess, yeah, they're calling it subscribers because you got followers over on Rumble, and then they have all of these badges as well for a bunch of different things, and then their live streaming capabilities where you can tag people in the chat. It's all seemingly caught up to what YouTube's doing in such a short period of time because they just started live streaming, like actual live streaming, within about the past 18 months. And now they've completely caught up. And now when it comes to directly supporting a creator by becoming a member for YouTube and a subscriber on Rumble, that's all going directly to the creator because they actually care about their creators. That's fantastic stuff at a point where if they wanted to be real capitalists about this, they're seeing all the success from the likes of Crowder, even stupid Destiny. When he seen him came over and for his first stream, he topped out nearly at 30,000 peak concurrent viewers. FNF, Ricada, all of those guys, getting 20,000 viewers on Rumble. If they wanted to be real dirty capitalists about this, they could just release this feature for streaming and then just keep with the regular split that would be out there. Some places, like I know the way that Rumble does their Rumble rants, their YouTube chat equivalent, Google and YouTube, without Apple's weird little gimmick, if you donate or a super chat through an Apple device on YouTube, YouTube takes 30% and then Google takes 30% on top of that. So when it's all said and done, what is it, on a $10 super chat, the creator at the end of it ends up getting like $3 or $4. Like, it's absolutely wild. But Rumble, I think for their rants, it's 20% that they take, which is totally fine, man. They're providing all the infrastructure. But given the fact that they're running until the end of 2023, not like the end of summer, not like the end of the month, the end of 2023 when creators get their entire $5 subscription from everybody that shows up and supports in the chat. That's ridiculous value. Let the platform wars begin. Yeah, because YouTube is messing around and screwing over everybody. My distribution through the floor on topics that are relevant, on topics that people that watch the content, they really like, dragging their feet on monetization. Listen, I spend hours and hours on every single one of these videos and I get paid, pennies in order to do it? I have thousands thousands of videos that I did in order to get up to this spot, and then for YouTube to just kick me in the nuts because they just don't feel like it. No, man, if on Saturday we do some big numbers over on Rumble, I don't have, outrageous expectations. Trust me, very measured. But we do something special over on Rumble, we'll start doing a lot more Rumble specific content, because I've been with them well before everything took off, well before Crowder signed on and started doing huge numbers, well before Tate. Really, you've got to attribute Rumble's success probably directly to Tate, because if it wasn't for him coming over and doing 147,000 people on the first emergency meeting, nobody would be really, hopping over to Rumble like that. It would still be that weird little alt tech platform that, hey, a bunch of conservatives use, but now everybody uses it. There's a mass exodus, and there's finally a ship to hop over to. But let me just get off my soapbox here for a second, and if you guys didn't skip ahead, now we can come back, because we're going to watch the clip addressing Crowder's off base. It's off base because he's trying to say, it's terrorism, and we don't need to call it a hate crime because, that's the language of the left, and that there's a leftist infiltration when it comes to our language. I totally agree with that, 1,000%. But those are the laws that are on the books. And just because you want to take the high ground, you also don't realize that that's also a reason why conservatives lost. They didn't want to use all of the weapons at their disposal. Sure, you're a man that only wants to go so far when it comes to, let's just lay out a scenario, trench warfare or something like that. No. We're the side that uses the machine guns. We mow them down as they come across no man's land. Well, we could fly at low altitude and we could burn them out with a flamethrower. No. That's inhumane. We're just going to use the machine gun. Well, the machine gun is fantastic and it's very effective. By you not using the flamethrower doesn't mean that your opposition isn't going to do that to your bunker. He's normally good on this stuff. He's just missing. He's just missing on this topic right here, but we'll run it out. We'll play a little bit of this. I got it up to the point where I think that it's relevant, and it's just a little snippet. I don't want to play all of his show. I'd recommend this episode. This episode was pretty decent.
So we know this now. Okay, manifesto that isn't being released. We know that there was a comorbidity. Okay, but now you have the right playing into the left's hand. Some people are praising Senator Josh Hawley here. Yeah. I am not. And then I want to point, here's why. Anytime people use the term hate crime, it has always been used to eventually leverage it into hate speech laws. Murder doesn't need a footnote. Now, this is terrorism. It's not a hate crime.
I don't know how that is any different, because, again, the first time that I remember and popular culture remembers the use of terrorism was because of 9/11. Okay, if you wanted to label something as terrorism, well, guess what happened right after that? Some evil laws that ended up becoming the Patriot Act, which just meant that your security went bye-bye. That's the exact same stuff that you're talking about right here. I'm not saying that he's bad, not saying that he's wrong. It's just that there's a big blind spot when it comes to this.
And you will see that on the left, they do not apply that term hate crime equally at all.
So that's incumbent on the other side of this discussion to do. Show them the power, show them the force that they've been exerting on the other side. And if they don't like it, tough titties. It's time to repeal that law.
It's entirely selective. So here's Senator Josh Hawley, and you can comment below. I'd love, if you disagree with me, committing a major screw up, I would argue.
This is why I wanted to make this video right here, because, well, I'm not going to comment, and it's not like he's not going to see this video anyways, and he's not going to see the comments. So, hey, man, you know what? You guys deserve to hear this talking point, because this is going to be something that'll be going around for at least a little while, and especially because there's going to be a compare and contrast once we get to what's going to be happening on Saturday. Not that I'm going to be engaging in, something that we're going to have an eye to and see the difference in the coverage right there. And if you don't want to use all of the tools available, well, there's going to be consequences for that.
For political points, theater, calling it a hate crime.
Mr. President, we must also tell the truth about what happened yesterday in Nashville. This murderous rampage, this taking of innocent life, was a horrific crime, but more specifically, it was a hate crime.
Yeah.
Nope.
A crime that, according to Nashville police, specifically targeted, that's their word, targeted, the members of this Christian community, the members of this religious institution.
Terrorism.
Let's be clear.
Yeah, no, exactly. You could just go back to your definition of terrorism that you tweeted out. It's still, like, what does it say right here? Domestic terrorism furthers ideological goals stemming from domestic influences such as political, religious, social, racial, or environmental nature. It's still targeted. It's the exact same stuff, just under different language.
Mr. President, federal law prohibits the targeting of violence against any American
and phrase
on the basis of religious affiliation or religious practice or religious belief. But that is, according to police, exactly what we saw happen yesterday.
Can we rewind it a little bit just and then pause at any American?
Yeah, the rest of it is just him going back and forth. Actually, see if I miss anything. Yeah, there's not really anything terrifyingly relevant afterwards. Of course, I'll link out to the video if you guys want to watch the rest of it. See if I missed any context when it comes to that. No, it's a blind spot, okay? Just as somebody who has been beaten down by leftist rhetoric forever across a multi-practiced field, I understand the aversion, but I also understand your opposition in this case. They don't care, man. They don't care. They're going to do whatever the hell is at their disposal. And that's why the response of somebody like Trump is so goddamn based when it comes to this stuff that I can't do anything but applaud. Trump praises the Nashville police response, which is fantastic, beautiful police, wonderful police. Says the shooter's aggression was caused by gender hormone treatments, and that's why he banned trans in the military. That's what you do right there. You know what you do? Yep, you take a look at a bad situation such as that, you praise the police, and then you just, instead of standing your ground and we need to defend all this stuff, no, you go on the counteroffensive when it comes to this stuff. And it's also something else that I've been thinking about at the exact same time, because we talked about this when Marjorie Taylor Greene brought it up yesterday. The opposite sex hormones in somebody else's body has detrimental effects. It's the exact same way. Let me posit this to you, just this scenario right here. When you see an overly masculine woman, somebody who's loud, obnoxious, abrasive, do they ever seem happy? Do they ever seem fulfilled? Is it somebody that you want to spend time with? No, it's never that case. You see the exact same thing with feminized men. They're just all weak, and they all just seem kind of out of sorts when they're not in their traditional roles, their conventional roles. That's what I think happens on a more visceral level whenever you start injecting somebody with hormones that are foreign to their body. And we're seeing this play out, and instead of anybody wanting to address that situation, no, you're just being a bigot, and we're just going to try to cancel you. Just like they did with censored men, okay? Abused him a bunch of different times when it comes to the Tate situation. We've got an update on that as well, but that'll work in towards the end of it, and it's exactly what you expect, and it's not good. So there you go. So he was locked out of his account. Why was he locked out of his account? Because he was reporting on the Trans Day of Vengeance. And what is that specifically? Well, this, okay? One of the groups behind the upcoming Trans Day of Vengeance, April 1st, surprise, there's supposed to be, all of this tranny aggression that's going to be going down at the Supreme Court, of the United States this Saturday. They're all going to turn up, and they're apparently raising money for firearms and weapons training. Fantastic. Doesn't that sound like open advocation and open endorsement of aggression? Now, if they're citizens of the United States of America, they are all afforded the Second Amendment privileges and rights as every other member and citizen of the United States. Now, of course, this is where the police, even though it's Washington D.C. after all, has to enforce under and in service to their oath, enforce all of those gun control laws. Oh, okay. Because, let's just realpolitik this out. What do you think is actually going to happen? Raising money for firearms and weapons training. Okay, somebody's going to go in, somebody who can pass a background check, and they're just going to buy up everything that they can possibly get their hands on in the upcoming days, and whatever the good grace period is when it comes to these firearms, and snatch them all up and bring them to the meeting that's going to be there, and then just start handing them out all willy-nilly. Funny, they're going to do the exact same stuff that they accuse the other side of doing. See how there's a nice through line when it comes to this stuff? Now, the police, if they're doing their job, because Washington, D.C. has some very strict gun laws, just like every other leftist city that's out there. Are those laws also going to be as stringently enforced? And if they aren't, and they result in some very terrible situations, like the ones that we're seeing advocated for openly right here, trans rights and a whole bunch of rifles, or else if things end up going extremely sideways this Saturday, which I'm not hoping for, I'm definitely not hoping for. I'm just saying that it's also very likely to happen because you have, let's just call a spade, mentally unhinged individuals going down there thinking that there's an active genocide being perpetuated on them. The fact that they have to go down there and advocate in the support of a Trans Day of Red Bar. Why is there a red bar over that? Because we've seen that yesterday. It's funny. It's funny because once again, big tech is doing the bidding of fringe lobbies. The Trans Day of Vengeance poster has gotten a bunch of different people censored off the platform, just like censored men. The reason? I posted a picture of a Twitter post where a radical left-wing transgender terrorist employed their audience to butcher Christian men, women, and children due to what they call a Trans Day of Vengeance. It's not going to end well. We can already see a hate crime, a terrorist attack. Hell, call it a hateful terrorist attack. Do whatever you like. We can see it getting plotted and endorsed on these big tech platforms, including your beloved Twitter. Oh, see, little Elon Musk, he's going to be out there and he's going to make Twitter great again. Nah, man. He's delegated his responsibility to people that he thought was going to do right by him, but in actuality, you go against feminism on the platform. Just go ahead and call it exactly what it is. The Eliza Blue situation, there's a female at fault. The trans situation, this Trans Day of Vengeance stuff, where people is just getting snatched up off of it. Who supports all this stuff? And what do they use at their disposal? Every single tool available. Nobody is ever, I can't recall a single hate crime that has been charged against somebody whose target was specifically white people or Christians. And that's what we're going to see in spades on Saturday. Because again, if you don't use all the tools at your disposal, if you try to live a virtuous, good life, follow the rules, you end up sat in a cell for an indeterminate amount of time. Will the girls get out at the end of June? Maybe, potentially. But yeah, there was a bail hearing yesterday, and then the ruling came down earlier this morning. The appeal for bail for the Tate brothers has been rejected. They continue to be detained without being charged. That's where you end up. A corrupt system if you don't fight back. Not saying break the laws, but I'm also saying the other side of the aisle is awfully good at breaking those laws. So you need to document everything. You need to scream the hypocrisy from the rooftops, because guess what? Things change, like you seen with the NHL video that I did just earlier today. Things change when people stand up, because they've never had to face opposition before. It was just simply their ideological purpose to push everything for as far as they can. But the moment somebody went, I'm not putting on the jersey, and then another person stood up because they were emboldened, I'm not doing it either. Then you had an entire team go, yeah, we're not going to do it. And then you have the entire league go, yeah, I don't think we're going to be doing this anymore. To steal a phrase from a man that I heard speak it originally, revolution is simply a group of men standing up and saying no. If you don't want to use laws that are on the books that aren't going to be going anywhere against your opposition, who are more than willing to use them against you, you're purposely handicapping yourself in one of the greatest battles of our time. I'll just say, man, this whole trans issue is getting so far out of pocket, now resulting in death, and it's also resulting in more death that we can see happening in a few days' time if nobody does anything about it. That's not a call to violence, not in the least bit. And I'm definitely not saying, okay, just because there's going to be a protest that goes out there, counter protests, these people are nuts, absolutely crazy. Don't go out there. Don't do anything. Let them be animals all by themselves. There's trained police officers, apparently, that know that there will be firearms, there will be weapons down there. And if they act up and they act a fool, the full force of the federal, state, local government needs to come down on their heads so they know exactly what's going on. So we'll wait with bated breath, and not looking forward to doing that video because we all know where that's going to end up going. And as always, free the Tates. The boys, this is ridiculous at this point in time. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.